I see what you're doing here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works, right?
Yeah.
See, it all ties in. It all
Yeah.
ties in.
Yeah. It all ties in. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Keep talking.
All right, while you're doing that, I'll vamp. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining into Bias Bros on our first live stream that probably nobody is watching because we decided at the last minute and we didn't advertise. That's preparation for you. We are Bias Bros. I'm Jay. This is my brother, Devin. Devin, say hi, Devin.
Hi. No, so
And
like he said, it's the first live one, and what I'm doing is editing our live stream to actually reflect that we're live streaming this as a live stream.
oh, there you go. See, we're doing it on the fly. We're figuring it. We're learning together. We're learning together. If you've never seen us live before, if you've never heard of us, we like to bitch about movies, bitch about pop culture,
Yeah.
review old movies and new movies, as the case may be today.
All kinds of
And
cases.
all kinds of cases. There's cases all over the place. And
It's like Mr. Chow's Chinese fast food. Was that a regional enough thing that people understand it, or was that a local thing?
I think that was a Northern California thing, but I'm not sure.
Oh.
Everybody.
For everybody who doesn't know, that was the tagline, was I'm all over the place. But
Yeah.
apparently it wasn't actually all over the
But
place. It was just kind of near one area.
everybody in our area knew what it was talking about. I assume everybody did.
Right.
Yeah. But we're gonna be talking about some more horror movies today because we've been binging and watching a whole bunch of new horror movies. We wanted to
purging.
binging, and not so much the purging, but the binging. Definitely the binging.
We can with some binging.
Do you want to tell them why you have been so horror obsessed? Is that something you want to?
I know what you're getting at, and I wouldn't say that's why, but
sure, but
I
it's a contributing factor.
It all does go along together. But yeah, I've been working on an anthology horror comic series that I'm writing, and kind of just writing horror. I feel like I've got to be consuming some horror as well, I guess.
Totally.
But also, what I've kind of noticed, bro, if you think back, you and I really started on horror at a very young age.
Yeah.
Because we had parents who made the, I suppose, questionable decision to not super closely monitor what we consumed, we watched a lot of horror movies as kids.
Yeah.
Way more than I think any friend we've ever had at any point in time. We watched a lot of horror as kids.
I remember one of the first I still remember this nightmare. It was nonsense. It was more or less a fever dream. But it was because we went to go see, what was it? Tales from the Dark Side, the Tales from the Dark Side movie in a drive-in theater when I was 5.
Yeah, so I'm like 3 or 4.
Yeah, no, I was 5. So you would have been like 2 or 3.
Are we that far apart?
Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you would have been 2 or 3.
What year were you born?
Either way, we were young. We were way too young to be watching this scary ass movie.
It's not getting better as I'm getting younger.
No,
the story's not improving.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, no, like they didn't care. The only thing that Mom didn't want us watching was Beavis and Butthead. I remember that much.
Which honestly, really, in retrospect, it's really
that was
not
the
that bad.
least. That really was the least of her concern, but she did not want. It was only when we were at Dad's house that she would let us watch Beavis and Butthead.
But yeah, and honestly, thinking back, we never even rented good horror when we were much younger.
Well,
it was never Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween.
Gotcha.
It was always like Maniac Cop and Project Biowolf, and
my God,
we did all the
Metal Wolf. Project Metal
Wolf.
Wolf.
That's what
it was. Maniac Cop was nuts, man.
There's 2 or 3 sequels.
There's like a bunch of them. Honestly, I'm not 100% certain that the popular brand of Maniac Cop movies are the one we watched.
It might not be.
I could not find the appropriate plot line on IMDb on any of the Maniac Cop movies that matched the flick that we saw as kids.
This is exactly like fucking Puppet Master and and House 2, Troll
House
and
2
Troll
was
2.
crazy.
Like, these are all things we consumed pre 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
And like most of them we can't even find because these were like budget Sci-Fi Channel horror movies, but we loved this shit. And then somewhere Yeah, I mean, I guess off and on we have fallen in and out of enjoying these kinds of things, but it's a thing that's kind of coming back. Like, thinking about it, OG original.
Yes.
This was our shit when we were kids.
Damn Skippy.
This probably influenced the music we listened to, like all the metal
Oh,
and
I'm
the
sure.
rock and the aesthetic
Rob
of
Zombie,
all that.
definitely.
That all came from like as young kids. And honestly, I think definitely some of it scared us, but I think more often than not, we looked at it and we were like, yeah, this is fake, cuz like A, look at it, that's not real. And like B, even a kid is not dumb enough to believe this shit.
Right.
This is dumb. It's just fun make pretend.
Actually, this is an observation. So we went through a whole slew of newer horror movies that we wanted to kind of talk about on the show today. And in watching them, I made an observation about myself. I don't want to go into it right now.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later, but it does come down to the crazy, outlandish kind of horror movies. Okay. But before we get to that, let's start our Barry Judd list. If you're watching us live, if you've never seen us before, we do a top 5 list that we call the Barry Judd list, named after Jack Black's character from High Fidelity, because we're dorks like that. Named after Barry Judd. And today's list is top 5 surprising actors to have spotted in a horror movie.
And I think we'll do, because I don't think either of us put it on our list, but like the one that inspired it,
yes.
I was watching 31 today, and E.G. Daily, the voice of Tommy Pickles, plays a character called Sexhead and is a crazy murderer. And I was like, well, there goes my fucking childhood, I guess. Because there was even, like, one point she's yelling something, and I was like, oh my god, Tommy Pickles just screamed that.
Yeah.
Like, it happens in that movie.
And I had to remind you that she was also in Devil's Rejects. She was one of the strippers or prostitutes or something at the whorehouse at the end of the flick.
Which must just mean that E.G. Daily is friends with Rob Zombie.
She is now, I'm sure.
Right. And I mean, they are both musicians, so...
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah,
makes sense.
That's sort of what spurred this, though, because thinking back, honestly, and this is what I discovered when... I'm gonna throw this out there because I don't think it's on your list. I don't think this. I think there's like a 2% chance this is on your list. This is low.
Okay.
I particularly looked at this a certain way, more as we kind of grew up on a lot of these movies, and then going back and realizing that actors were in these movies that we liked are actually people who mattered, and not just randos.
I have like one on my list two that are like that, but I don't think that they would be on your list.
Right, and this isn't even on my list. One of the ones I did not include because I was aware of who the actress was while watching it, even though it was very early in her career. I don't think it was her first, but I was cognizant of who the actress was and followed her because of the movie, not later discovered or had a shocking realization that it's her in this movie. But like Jessica Alba in Idle Hands.
Oh, totally.
Didn't count it because at the time, like, she was this young up-and-coming actress.
Right.
I was a fan of her because of that movie, so it wasn't a shocking thing to find out later. Like number 1, do you mind if I go first? I'm just gonna roll into it.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
do it.
Like number 1 on my list, it was a movie I had really enjoyed for years, and even after following the actor for a totally different career path, it wasn't until he casually mentioned it during something that I put the two together and went, oh shit, it is that guy. Chris Hardwick in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, I was going to mention him when we were talking about E.G. Daily. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of before he popped. And again, there was a whole controversy with him, and regardless of where we land, it's not what we're going into. All I'm saying is, I'm a big fan of House of a Thousand Corpses, and I really got into the Nerdist podcast right when that popped, but the Nerdist podcast was this other thing he did that kind of blew him up, independent of that movie entirely, really independent of him acting entirely. And it was just kind of weird to, like, one day draw this connection of, like, oh, fuck, that is that guy.
And he did, like, it was before he lost all the weight. It does not look like him at all. He has this huge shaggy beard. He's all slovenly and whatnot. Looks like Willem Black from Mallrats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was,
But yeah, no. That's a good poll.
oh my god, I know that guy.
Ethan Suplee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoked as fuck now.
Oh, dude, he has
good for him.
Absolutely, man. I wonder if Kevin Smith ever paid him off on that bet. They bet each other $100 who could lose 50 pounds first or 100 pounds first or whatever it was.
Oh man, and they both look great now.
Well, and absolutely. But like, Ethan Suplee took that bet and ran with it.
Yeah.
Or biked with it, I guess. Because that was his thing.
So another one, and I definitely know we did not recognize this as kids. We didn't recognize it as our dad watched the show she got famous on for years and years. But I know we watched the series when we were younger kids. Because we quoted it all the time. Jennifer Aniston in The Leprechaun.
Oh, yeah!
It's like her first movie, and you and I grew up with the Leprechaun stuff.
Uh-huh.
We watched all those all the way into fucking space like everything had to do.
Yeah.
And all throughout Friends.
That space one was ridiculous.
God. But, the all throughout Friends and all that stuff, I don't think we ever put together that it was her until years later when somebody was like, it's her, and we were like, I guess we did know that. But didn't know that. So, another one. I'm moving through this quick because we do have a lot to talk about.
We have a whole... Yeah, totally.
Okay, another one. And actually, because I always fact-check my stuff, just in case I'm weirdly, wildly off, which does happen sometimes. But looking up this movie, I realized there's other actors and actresses that other people, I think, would care more about. But the movie is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and for me, the actor is Paul Rubens. And I were big Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's Playhouse fans as kids.
Absolutely.
And I think we drew that connection pretty early, but it definitely wasn't like first watch.
It took you out of it for a second. Oh, no, I called it pretty much right off the bat. At least I think if I remember correctly, either I called it or Mom pointed it out, the first watch.
Okay, maybe. But yeah, it's still one of those weird, that's definitely not that dude that we knew.
Totally. Actually, that almost went on my list today, but I was like, well, is it a horror movie? Like it's horror elements, but I didn't count it, but I'm glad it was mentioned.
And I was going to say that's kind of my big cheat for this week, is that's not really a horror movie, but it's a very dark role for that guy. And very different.
Sure.
It's still comedic, but
oh, sure,
it's very different.
His death scene, it was improvised.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure. And honestly, good on her, the main girl, because
Kristen Swanson.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
but good on her because she rolls with it of just creepy dudes being fucking creepy again.
Oh yeah, she stayed in character that whole bit, man.
Yeah, fantastic. So my next one, and again, we didn't grow up with this one, but I think even by the first time I watched it, I had been made loosely aware, but I can guarantee you, if somebody hadn't pointed it out, I actually still don't think I would have drawn it because he's so young. And he honestly, I think that's probably the one movie where his face hasn't become his face yet, and it throws me. Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street.
That almost went on my list too.
He's just so young in it. I honestly think if you don't tell people,
he's a baby.
Well, and if you're getting introduced to him with Pirates movies and fucking whatever else, that guy, Alice in Wonderland and shit.
Right.
He doesn't look like that anymore, and I feel like you wouldn't draw that face immediately.
Even if you did recognize him, it would still take you a few minutes to be like, wait a minute, is that Johnny Depp?
Oh, fuck, it is that guy. Yeah,
he was late teens, early 20s. He was a baby.
Young. Yeah. Yeah, so just kind of surprising to go back and find him in that. And then the last one, and I think this one fucked me up the most, and this is the one you sat back down as I was discovering this. There were two voices for this, and I was about to get real mad because I was sure I was right.
Okay.
Buster Bunny is the Crypt Keeper?
Yes, he is. John Kassir.
John Kassir.
Yes.
Who does a lot of voice acting.
Lots of stuff. And at one point in time was married to, was it Amy Benson? She played Darla from Buffy.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, did not know that.
Fun fact.
So the role of Buster Bunny was apparently taken over by Charlie Adler in later years.
Yes.
And that's what threw, because I guess Charlie did more episodes than John did. So
That sounds about right. Yeah.
when I looked up Tiny Toons, the first voice on there was, of course, Buster Bunny, and it was Charlie Adler, and I was like, really? Because I could have swore I can even hear the laugh, and that's what immediately fucked me up, is how close Buster Bunny's laugh is to the Crypt Keeper's laugh. It's this very fine line of charming and adorable and fucking terrifying. So,
I like
yeah,
it.
that one fucked me up pretty good, was Buster Bunny is the Crypt Keeper.
Quick correction: it's not Amy Benson; it's Julie Benz.
Yeah. And I actually knew that, but for some reason when you said Darla, my brain went to, I'm ringing all over.
Right. Drusilla's
Yeah,
yeah.
I got them crossed in my brain. Wow, I did not know he was married to Julie. Julie Benz is great.
Oh, she's awesome.
Fantastic on Dexter, and
what's the one
for Dexter, taken off that show too soon.
I haven't seen it. I've seen like the first 2 episodes.
No, I left it vague enough.
Fair
She'll
enough.
leave the show. You don't know under what circumstances her character exits the show.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
It was too soon. I could have used so much more Julie Benz in that show. She's great.
Nice. Yeah, she's awesome. All right. You said?
List it.
I'm gonna list it. I'm gonna get this one right off the bat because this is my cheat, and coincidentally, my cheat also includes Paul Rubens, but also includes Dick Smothers of the Smothers Brothers.
Good old Dickie Dick Smothers.
They were both, and yeah, shout out to my old people. Young people don't know who Dick Smothers is.
No idea.
Who are the Smothers brothers? Not a Yo-Yo Man. Nobody has a clue.
Yeah.
But they were both in an old, very cheesy, very dumb horror movie called Pandemonium.
I like Pandemonium.
Right?
Yes,
it was
very
ridiculous.
cheesy. Let's get our first graphic up, and can it be Pandemonium?
Oh, why not?
Pandemonium movie. 2020?
Are they making a new one?
Did somebody remake Pandemonium? Shame on you.
No.
For shame.
Well, it could be awesome.
This is what the world needs right now.
That's exactly what the world needs right now is more Pandemonium.
But there it is. 1982's Pandemonium. Boy, what
ridiculous.
A treat.
What a rare gem. It's I don't even know if you can call it a horror movie because it's just ridiculous and absurd.
Did he find... Oh, no, there he is. There he is. He doesn't like to admit he's
in
this film.
Judge Reinhold?
Yeah, not a fan.
One of Judge Reinhold's earlier flicks, and he does not like to talk about it.
Not a fan.
Which I don't get, because it is dumb, but it's a gem.
It's
cheesy.
Fun.
It's dumb. It's
so
goofy.
Fun.
It's approaching the level of ridiculousness as Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Glenn Dandy. Yeah.
No, oh my God.
What a blast.
Please go check that movie out if you haven't seen it. This one, this is along those same lines, like, oh, you rewatch an old movie and you're like, oh my God, this person's in it. And this is going to be it's special to me and maybe a small pocket of people. Okay. Naomi Harris, from 28 Days Later. She also went on to be Tia Dalma in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Oh, not who I'm thinking of then. Okay, go on.
Well, I knew her. I grew up watching her in, what do you call it? It was called The Tomorrow People. It was a remake of an old 70s British BBC sci-fi show with kids.
Yeah, this was on
they put it on Nickelodeon.
Oh, and
yes.
There's a new version, and as I Google it,
yes, I never watched the new one. The new one.
Nickelodeon. That's what you want. This is what you need in your lives, people, right here.
Yes, but when I watched 28 Days Later, I realized, oh my, it's her. Like, where did she come from? I thought everybody forgot about her, and I'm so glad they didn't. Right? There are some things that I watched as a kid that I'm pretty sure I made up, but I keep coming across. I'm like, oh, look, I'm not crazy.
Right.
Next one up. So you weren't a fan of what was the name of that show? Once Upon a Time.
No.
Yeah,
My
I
wife
liked it.
was a big fan. I couldn't do it.
I enjoyed the first couple seasons because it was more true to the original source material of the fables, and
Okay.
then it just kind of as it grew, it was like, oh well, let's latch on to the Disney version of them. It was still kind of fun, but whatever. Anyway, the main character, Elizabeth Swan, no, not Elizabeth Swan, something Swan, can't remember. Anyway, played by Jennifer Morrison. She was the dead girl in Stir of Echoes.
I don't know if I've seen Stir of Echoes.
You have no that Kevin Bacon ghost movie where he becomes a psychic.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm even looking at pictures right
Oh,
now. I
dude.
don't think I've seen Stir of Echoes. We got bigger
Oh,
poster,
buddy.
slightly bigger poster.
There is a hole in your soul that you aren't aware of. You need to watch
Apparently.
Stir of Echoes. It's amazing.
All right, sell me on it. Give me the elevator pitch.
So basically it all starts out like Kevin Bacon and his wife and a bunch of friends, they're all hanging out. One of his wife's friends is like a hypnotist or a psychic. She's into all that gumi kind of stuff.
All right.
And he goes, okay, no, hypnotize me. So it works, and she implants a thing like your mind is going to be more open, wanting him to be a more open-minded person, but instead he becomes a psychic and starts seeing dead people.
Okay.
And then you find out that his kid already is psychic and already has been talking to this dead girl.
Huh. Okay.
It's really fun. It's
Stir of Echoes.
Stir of Echoes. It's got a little bit of comedy in it, but it's mostly just kind of suspenseful. It's got the creep factor. Plus Kevin Bacon. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Check it out, please.
Who couldn't use more bacon in their diet?
This one, my next one up is, it is a horror movie, but I think more people see it as like an action movie. Predators.
Is that the new one?
I think there was a new one, but yeah, it came out, I don't know, the 2010s, I think.
Yeah, no, you're talking about the one that had Machete was in it, and
Yes.
Eric Foreman was in it.
And that was my actor, Topher Grace. Seeing Topher Grace pop up not only in this, spoiler alert, I hope you've seen it. It's not a new movie, but spoiler alert, seeing Topher Grace in this kind of movie and seeing him play the character he eventually becomes.
Yeah.
Like that was solid.
100%.
Like him, you watch like that 70s show was fun, and but Topher Grace, I think people kind of look at him as kind of a cake eater, but like he's got chops, man. Like he doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and he pulled it off in this flick.
Venom dinged him.
Well, Venom did ding him, but from what I understand,
I really liked this movie.
It was solid.
It was really underrated. I thought it was great. It was a
lot of fun. Jinx.
Damn it.
Last one on my official list, I do have an honorable mention just because.
It's an unofficial list.
She had a cameo in Bordello of Blood. Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh no shit.
For no reason. Okay. Like they're in a hospital. Like one of the characters is in the hospital. One of the nurses comes in, and it turns out she's a vampire, and they have a fight, and he kills the vampire and whatever else. And the lady in the bed next to them rolls over, is like, "Would you please keep it down? I'm trying to rest. I knew I shouldn't have gotten that what is it, solo room or whatever it was." And then she goes back to sleep. No explanation, just Whoopi Goldberg's there.
Based almost entirely of the screen grab I've pulled up, but I am going to need you to credit Bordello of Blood correctly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Tales from the Crypt presents Bordello of Blood.
Oh no, I was gonna say Corey Feldman hit Bordello of Blood. It's the only way to credit that movie.
God. Oh, that's good. Actually, wait, Ed, and Eddie. Which one was the tall, dumb one?
Ed.
That was Ed. That wasn't double D. That was single D Ed. The voice of Ed was in Bordello of Blood.
Shit.
Yes, he was when Corey Feldman and his buddy go to the bordello.
Is he the buddy?
He's the buddy.
He's literally who I have on screen right now.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Yep.
the guy. So
That's the
the
voice of
guy
Ed.
who's not the Michael Jackson impersonator is the voice of Ed in Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Yes.
There's
You're
another
welcome.
surprising pull.
There you go. That's a good point.
We
That's a good
just
point.
brought it all around.
Full circle.
I was gonna say, boy, where is Corey Feldman? But unfortunately, I know the answer to that, and it's not great.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
He's just
I mean,
a weirdo now.
well, but I mean, think about the stuff that he's been talking about and what he's gone through, man.
Well,
You know, like he's allowed to be a little weird.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And my honorable mention of surprising actress to see in a horror movie, pretty much the entire cast of Krampus.
You know, I haven't seen Krampus.
Oh, man.
I know. No, that one's been on a list for a bit.
Oh, dude, you got to check it out. Because, I mean, pretty much the whole cast are comedians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's why it came so highly recommended, because I do follow a lot of the stand-up stuff, and, like, that movie has tons of well-known... Oh, there we go. There's a good one. Oh, no, do you know they did a Krampus Origins, apparently?
Did they really?
That's what it says here.
They did, the guy that did that one did an anthology flick about Halloween a year or so before Krampus came out. It was called Trick or Treat.
Yeah, Trick or Treat was alright. It wasn't my favorite, but it was alright.
Oh man, I cannot recommend that flick enough. That is a solid
Maybe I need
flick.
to give it another shot.
Do it, please do it.
Maybe I actually
I tried to buy a copy because I still collect DVDs because I'm not with the streaming.
No,
but,
I have shit tons of DVDs. Get the fuck out. Well, Blu-rays, DVDs.
People call me crazy. Like, why do you collect it? You can just stream it. I was like, because I want the copy.
Yeah.
Go away.
Because I support things that I enjoy by giving them money so they can make more of it.
Right. Well, anyway, the point of this whole story is that I ordered a copy of Trick or Treat from Amazon, and when I got it, it was a comic book.
Oh. Any good?
So, yeah, it was okay. It was good. But, I mean, you know, that wasn't what I wanted, so I kind of had a jaded opinion about it. But, yeah, it was good.
All right. You know, Amazon has a great return policy, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. But, like, I was like, well, I can send it back, or I can keep the comic book. So, I did that, and I just haven't reordered the new one.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, that's our Barry Judd list, everybody.
That's the Barry Judd list. It's 10 actors you'll be surprised to find in a horror movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite actor to find in a horror movie? Find us on Facebook. Is it just Bias Bros? What's the Facebook?
Bias Bros.
Bias Bros.
At Bias Bros. Yeah.
Just like it is
let
on
us
the
know.
screen there. Bias Bros with a Z. And then let us know what your favorite surprising actor in a horror movie is.
Absolutely. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, I think we're also streaming on Twitch, are we?
Yeah.
Drop a comment. Let us know what your favorite surprising actor to find in a horror movie was. Yeah. Every time we're saying this, we're gonna repeat the entire title of this Judd list.
Yeah.
Look,
we're doing social media.
We are.
Because you know what there's not enough opinions of out there is bald-bearded white guys.
Yeah, no, there's not enough
really
of those floating around out there.
Opinion.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So we went and reviewed several newer horror movies.
I'm a little mad at a couple of the ones you watched that I haven't. I'm a little mad.
Which one?
Freaky. Did you find it for free or did you go pay for it somewhere?
No. It's on Amazon Prime, but
I know, but for like $10.
No, you rent it for $5.
Oh, did it come down? No. When I was first looking at it, it was like new, and it was like a $10, $15 rental. So
gotcha. Yeah, no, it's down to like $5 or $6, $5.99.
Do you want to give it a spoiler-free, just like go over really quick?
Absolute gem.
I gotta say, I weirdly loved Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2, and it's the same writer-director doing it.
Okay, I haven't seen those ones yet.
And that's the whole reason I want to see Freaky, because Happy Death Day is like a bizarre gem of a near horror movie. It's more somebody is stuck in a horror premise. And that's where the movie continues from. And weirdly, that fucking works.
This worked. I thought it was going to be dumb, but pretty much, if you haven't heard of it, the premise is pretty much Freaky Friday, but instead of two girls switching bodies,
instead of like
or
a
no, it was the
mother-daughter combo.
mother-daughter. That's what it was. I'm mixing up Freaky Friday with Parent Trap.
Oh.
Instead of a mother-daughter switching bodies, it's a girl switching bodies with the serial killer who's trying to kill her.
Just realizing how terrible the Parent Trap is with the body switch because they're already twins. It's just like, oh, I'm now
Nobody will ever believe you
than I was a minute ago. I'm slightly
You'll
to the left of where I was just standing.
You'll have to fingerprint me. Oh man, that's funny. They would never know.
They would never
know. No, so yeah, it's the premise is Freaky Friday, but a girl switches bodies with the guy that tries to kill her, and then she goes about her high school day trying to kill people like he does, and she's in his body trying not to be arrested and trying to convince her friends that she is who she says she is.
Right.
And it has a really good balance of comedy because it's absurd.
Right.
It's an absurd premise, but it does have that over the top slasher movie effect to it. Like straight out of Friday the 13th. Like the movie takes place on Friday the 13th.
Nice.
Yeah. They pay homage. They don't hide it. They know what they are, and it works so well.
This director has really found an interesting niche for himself, but it bangs, bro. I don't know. I don't think it's the same guy who did, but a movie that's in very much the same vein, and you should absolutely add to your list. I realize I didn't put it on there for you. It's called The Final Girls.
Oh, we were talking about this.
It's
no.
good.
We weren't talking about this. It's a line from what was it? Anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a similar kind of thing though, but it's a little more literal. A bunch of people are watching a horror movie in the theater, and they find themselves pulled into the horror movie. So instead of falling into the horror tropes of like, oh, I'm running through the woods and I fall over, they kind of have this more meta mentality. So it takes on almost like an action movie feel.
Okay.
But in a horror movie, it's not a horror movie. It's people in a horror movie premise.
Okay.
Except a little more literal, because in this one, they are literally pulled into a horror movie.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
And it just fucking works. Something about characters in a horror premise, but having a vague amount of idea of what's going on.
Right.
Really
they recognize the
dynamic.
situation for what it is.
So if you haven't seen Happy Death Day, we'll nutshell this and then we'll move on.
Nutshell it.
But Happy Death Day is essentially Groundhog's Day, but horror. So a girl relives her birthday and is murdered. But that can only happen 2 or 3 times before you're kind of hip to the game and working against it. So really a chunk of the movie becomes about character development as we're following somebody try and work through a problem. That's not horror. Fundamentally, she's in a horror movie premise, but the minute the character is actually working on the problem and developing, you're no longer in a horror movie. You're in... I don't know what this is. I'm loving this little subgenre that's happening.
Nice.
And the fact that one director is kind of championing a couple of films to do it, and I eat crow on this. There's a comic book writer who I give shit to all the time. I think he's terrible. His name's Scott.
You eat crow?
Eating crow, that's when you admit you're wrong. It's like a whole...
I've never heard this term.
Yeah, eating crow. That's like admitting your shit. Admitting you're wrong. I called this thing out and I was wrong about it. That's called eating crow.
You know, you're not supposed to eat crow, man. There's people's souls in those things.
That's what makes them taste so good.
Oh, gotcha.
I talk a lot of shit about Scott Lobdell. I hate his comics. They're terrible.
Okay. What has he done?
Apparently, Scott Lobdell worked on the acting script for Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, fuck, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I guess he's not a terrible writer. He's just terrible at all the comics I've seen him write. So his movie's
Fair enough.
good.
All
I
right.
can't take that from him. The movie's great.
All right,
Fucking
cool.
Scott Lobdell gets one. Fucking stop writing Teen Titans. You're terrible.
I will check that out.
He has stopped writing Teen Titans. Okay, but yeah.
Happy Death Day sounds fun.
It was really good, and I'm looking forward to Freaky. I don't want you to dive too much more into it.
No. That was my no spoiler-free spoiler.
So, and I'll do it because you watched it and I don't want to talk about it. But the other one on my list, Host, we've mentioned it on this podcast before. And what's funny, the main reason to check it out is actually the main reason I keep putting off watching it. It's so short. The movie's like an hour and 5 minutes or something. You are fucking in and out of that movie.
I think it's shorter than that. I think it's only like 4. It might be about an hour. Yeah.
So every time me and my wife are like, "Oh man, we need to watch Host." We're like, "Oh yeah, but we have all weekend. It's only an hour long. We'll squeeze it in." And then we never fucking watch Host because it's so.
Do it.
I know. I hear nothing but good things.
Yeah, it was solid.
So then to dive into the one that I know you haven't seen, honestly, still at the top of my list. I really think this is still the best of all of them so far.
Wait, do you want me to go over Host?
I was gonna glance by it because I haven't seen
okay.
it. And we've talked about it before.
Okay.
We
have
have discussed the premise on the show.
Okay,
not on the
fair enough.
live show.
So you're gonna have to go and check out our library.
But Wolf of Snow Hollow. That's the one I really need you to see. Because
I haven't seen it yet.
I cannot. Even I won some points with my boss because I was on him. I was like, dude, watch this movie. Watch this movie. Watch this movie. And finally he checked it out. And literally while he's pinging me about like, I saw this movie and I loved it, he's like, also, did you know this guy wrote and directed another movie? And now I'm looking at how much that movie is on Amazon because I want to see more that this.
Nice.
So the guy who wrote and directed it is also the main character.
Okay.
And he just plays stressed, bro. This guy fucking nails stress.
It's not. It's
so
kind of
well.
It kind of sounds like Mark. Is it Mark Duplass?
No.
Oh, okay.
It is not.
Because he does that a lot. He writes his own horror
kills
movies and
it.
stuff.
No, this I've actually here. Let's pull up the Wolf of Snow Hollow on our fancy. We have a Google screen that the audience can see, so that when I'm looking at porn, they can see all the porn.
Jeez, I can't see it, so I'm just trusting that he's not actually posting porn.
It all depends on how loosely you define porn. So it's written by a guy named Jim Cummings. And I did not know him from anything else.
But porn.
Mr. Cummings.
And the live stream is pulled.
So Thunder Road was the one my boss really wanted to see, but no, this was again, this is one of those ones. It's walking this fine line on so many genres that I can't place it. Part of me wants to call it a horror comedy, but immediately I feel like that invokes images of like Shaun of the Dead in people's head.
Sure.
This is not like we're having fun with the comedy. It's funny because it's relatable. The main character is breaking down. And he's breaking down so fundamentally that it's just coming out. He can't hide that he's breaking down. He's done. He's broken. And it comes out, and it's fucking hysterical.
Is it like The Office? Is it like a Schadenfreude kind of a humor, or
I think it's
is it just more like a dark comedy?
It's like a very dark comedy.
Okay.
We're laughing with his pain only because we can see how big
buddy, we've been there.
Yes. But meanwhile, there's a literal murder. In a nutshell, this is the plot. I'm not spoiling anything. The plot of this movie is a couple of cops in a small town discover a bunch of murders that are seemingly done by a werewolf.
Okay.
And yet he's like, it's not a werewolf, because that's not a thing, and I need people to stop fucking saying the word werewolf, including the other inept cops he worked with, who keep saying things like werewolf in front of TV crews, and you can't say that because werewolves aren't fucking real.
Okay.
So good. So good. Wolf of Snow Hollow is, I think we spent $15 on the rental, and that's one of the few times where I was not at all pissed.
Nice. $15 for a rental?
I think it was
Oh
one of the
boy.
more expensive ones. And we saw it when it was
Holy
still pretty
cow.
new. We saw it like a month or two after release, and Amazon does do a tier where over time that rental price drops.
That's why I miss video rental stores, man.
Well,
$5.
but then you have to get up.
$9 if they were new.
Then you have to get up.
Yeah, I don't mind, man. I do
But-
not mind. We just lost our video rental store, and I miss it with all of my heart. There is a hole in my heart.
So Wolf
I
of
should get that
Snow
looked at.
Hollow, strong recommend. So let's
Good.
talk
Okay, I'll
one
check
that I
that out.
know you watched and I know you liked. I'm pulling it up. The audience is getting
Which
a
one?
tease in before you get to see it. Let's talk Spree.
Oh my god, dude.
Spree was so good.
Let me put it this way. I loved, first of all, I loved it. It was very smart. It was very social commentary.
Yes.
Basically the premise.
So Joe Keery from Stranger Things fame, he plays Steve the Hare Harrington.
Yes. I'm looking at, cause the flick reminded me of an older Charlie Sheen flick. I think it was called Chase.
Okay, I have not seen
I think
this.
I think it was actually him and Christy Swanson too. Like, give me 1 second. I'm trying to bring it up. Charlie.
Well, right here. So what folks watching live can see, I have the poster for Spree up, and Collider calls it American Psycho for the digital age. And
yes,
I will agree with that. And I will agree with that not being a fan of American Psycho. I actually like Joe Keery in this more than I liked Christian Bale in American Psycho. American Psycho didn't work for me. This fucking worked. This banged.
Oh, it was great. It was called Chase. It did star Charlie Sheen and Christy Swanson.
Okay.
Same kind. I don't want to say same premise, but it felt very similar. Except this one was a psychological thriller horror movie, and Chase was a comedy. And basically, Charlie Sheen's character accidentally kidnaps Christy Swanson. They're driving away. They're being chased by cops the entire time, and the entire thing is being filmed and televised heavily, and the opinions of the media and everybody is just beating this guy down. He's like, I don't know what to do, and like there's a huge misunderstanding, and I don't know what to do. I just got to keep driving, or I think he was going to lose his kid or something. But yeah, in the same way that was an indictment of television and the media. This is very much an indictment of social media. Right. How desperate we are to get attention. On social media, on live streams, like we got to get those notifications, we got to get those likes. And the premise is, can I give the premise without spoiling it?
Please.
The premise is this guy has been a live streamer for years, and he's got like maybe 2 followers, if that. And he gets so desperate for attention that he uses it's not Lyft, it was called Spree. It's the made up ride sharing.
Right. His ride share service.
Yeah, so he's a ride share driver, and he starts killing the people that he's giving lifts to, and doing it all on live stream. And it was clever because the entire thing was filmed like kind of like a found footage. It's all on like you're viewing it on an iPhone, or
it's like you're watching his Twitch.
It's like you're watching his Twitch, and the entire time you can see the comment feed go through, and people like if you've ever looked at a comment feed, like just negative people just like, oh, this is fake, oh, you're stupid, and whatever else. And there's only some of them that kind of believe it, and then when everybody starts to believe it, they're like, oh, kill this guy and do this. It's pretty dark. And as much as I loved this movie, it made me feel very uncomfortable.
Uber again?
No. It made me feel very uncomfortable.
And I really think that. Is this the most original? Was it the best filmed? Was it the best written? No,
but it was clever.
I feel like this movie is absolutely a shining spotlight on Joe Keery. I don't know how the fuck you say it. Keery. I'm gonna say Keery, but
Steve Harrington.
Steve the Hare Harrington sells the fuck out of this character.
God, yes, he does. He carries this movie
in
so well. Yes, I cannot agree more.
Like you're watching a desperate person break down.
And it was fun to see what he did with a character, because if you're looking to see like Steve Harrington kill people, that's not the case.
No.
Like he is this greasy, awkward, uncomfortable incel dude
Yeah.
trying to be a people.
Yeah.
And he does it so well. Like he is really, and this is, I teased this earlier about, so we grew up watching really outlandish, ridiculous slasher movies.
Yep.
And I love that garbage. I love it. Cannot get enough. It's so much fun. And even though I'm like, oh my God, whatever else, like I'm still having a good time. This was more social. It was like I'm sure I've met people like this character before. And like I said, it's commentary on it's social commentary.
Yeah.
I was not comfortable. In fact, after it was done, I had to get up and I had to leave. I left my house because I was so uncomfortable.
So good.
And I think that
so good.
I'm realizing like that's what scares me is that like kind of existential crisis thing, like, oh my God, people, oh my God, this is, we're so desperate and we just need to be loved. And like, what if I'm going to become this guy, like what? It was really uncomfortable. Not that I will, I promise, I swear. But well, there remains to be seen.
I make no promises.
It's so funny. But no, like, yeah, that kind of flick. And to a lesser extent, Hush. Hush was pretty uncomfortable too.
So glad you segued, boy.
Segue.
I love Hush.
Me too. Hush was, I don't want to say fun. Fun's not the right word. But man, like that one made me uncomfortable. Not as much as Spree, but yeah, that was tough. There were some moments when it was like, oh my God, we're almost there.
But I love how much Hush really tore down some walls for the slasher genre. Like,
sure, yeah.
So some minor spoilers on their way, so maybe fast forward ahead a little bit. But first off, all about a deaf girl being plagued by like a masked killer, quote unquote. But
yeah.
Most of the movie, therefore, is no dialogue. Most of the movie is totally silent.
Right.
If not just little sound cues that are only made worse because we know we can hear it and she has no idea. But
that was the most I don't want to say disturbing, but it was definitely horrific because you are scared for her because
at this point you're torturing her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
love that the killer demasks almost immediately.
Yeah. Like he opens up the movie with this really creepy, like kind of doll face mask. And as soon as he realizes that, like, I won't say how he finds out, but he finds out that she's deaf. He realizes that he can do anything he wants. She doesn't know he's there. So he takes his time.
Yeah.
And fucks with her.
Yeah. Makes it
so uncomfortable
to take his
yes.
time.
Like the
genre
you see that he's having
porn
fun
is a thing. And yet this is somehow torture porn that is not the genre torture porn.
That's a decent observation, actually. I mean, if you know what torture porn is, it's not actually porn, like Jim Cummings, but it is, it's a genre of horror where you're pretty much kind of like the Human Centipede or Hostel.
Hostel is the prime example.
Yes,
where you're it's gore for the sake of gore.
Right.
The point of the movie is to see someone get tortured. This is that.
She's not being tortured physically, but she is being mentally tortured.
Yes,
and he's having fun.
Yeah. Yes, he's taking his time. Honestly, the other thing I love, that's his only motivation, is that we never get a background or a sob story or a reason to give we don't even learn his name.
He just wants to hunt people.
He's just a guy who likes to murder people, and now he's doing that.
And I want to point this out too, because another thing that this movie did for this genre, it really handed a lot more power to the women of horror movies.
Yes,
because she's
not worthless.
She's not. No, like she
took
like
time
she's
to draft
terrified.
An email.
Yes, she is clearly terrified. But she doesn't run up the stairs when she should be running down and out the door. She doesn't trip and fall all the time. Like, she is taking proactive steps, observing what she can do, and she does it.
And at points pushes her body to the point past breaking
Yeah.
to survive.
Yes. She was a fighter
Yeah.
in this flick.
Hush is so, so, so good.
Check it out, please.
And can be viewed free. What, that one was Hulu? Hulu or
Yeah, that was
Netflix?
Hulu. Yeah, if you have Hulu, you can watch Hush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think there's one more on your list of ones that you had
Yeah.
seen, isn't there? Is there one more or is there two
Yes.
more?
Possessor.
Possessor.
This is another one that was Hush was a little uncomfortable, but for kind of the obvious reasons. But Possessor had it was more kind of like Spree, not the tone, but it had that kind of discomfort. It wasn't like a slasher movie. It was more like a science fiction psychological thriller.
And as much as this will frame it for viewers of a certain taste, it's a Brandon Cronenberg film. And
Yes.
absolutely read into that last name. Yes, this is David Cronenberg's son.
Not a body horror per se. There are
More of
elements,
a
but
horror
they're not
about
overt.
bodies.
Well, that exactly. That is true. Like I said, there are elements, but it is not an overt body horror.
Yeah.
But do you want to cover this one?
Boy, the loosest, most unspoilery way I can put this.
Yeah, it's hard because it like they don't come out and explain everything. You kind of figure things out piece by piece,
Right.
for the first half hour to an hour.
So, a small group of assassins who carry out their job by sort of possessing someone through means of technology, not at all mysticism, but
They
through
hijack people's brains, yeah.
through means of technology, they implant another controller, another mind into someone else's body to drive their body, and then their typical MO, they commit an assassination and then kill themselves, quote unquote, themselves, to
Their
make
host's
it look
body.
like a murder-suicide. Yet, our film focuses on an attempt where the original mind, the real person in the body, has a mind strong enough to not kill itself, and then has to suffer through the duality of two beings living in its body.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty succinct. And the tone of the movie is not action it's like the premise sounds very action sci-fi, but the tone is very bleak.
Yes.
It's very bleak. I wouldn't call it a horror. I mean, it is.
But what else
but it doesn't,
would you call it?
What else would you call it? I don't know. It's just, oh my God, like I'm honestly a little surprised it wasn't directed by M. Night Shyamalan, because everybody in this movie is so depressed.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like there's this undertone of discomfort.
I would claim that, I'll stake my flag here. I really think at the end of the day, it's a film about identity.
That's true. That
and
is
even beyond identities being hijacked, the characters doing the hijacking
right.
don't have solid grasps on themselves.
I'm not going to say it because it is a spoiler, but there is something at the very beginning that ties in. There's something at the very end that ties into the very beginning, and it's all in a dialogue.
Yeah.
And that was that moment when I realized, like, okay, I know what this movie is saying. It's subtle, but it's obvious. If that makes any kind of sense.
It's once you pick up on it, you notice that it's everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. But I can't say what it is. But yeah, that's exactly what it's about. At least, as art goes, that's what I took from it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I did really like it. I will say, though, out of all the ones we've reviewed today, this was probably my least favorite. If only because of some pacing issues. I did feel like there was some slog at some points where I was like, we can move quicker than this.
I agree, but I think, at least for the style of movie, it worked.
Yeah. But it's not a bad movie. It's just if we're gonna stack up everything we've talked about today,
sure,
this wouldn't be the first one that I'm gonna throw at somebody to give a shot.
For sure. No, me neither. It was good. I did enjoy it, but like I said, it was very bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty depressing. It's not a
Yeah.
fun time.
No, no, but it was a good watch.
Yeah. Definitely worth seeing. So as we are slowly running out of time, you and I do still. So we're keeping a running list. We're trying to watch a lot of the same horror movies. Have you looked at what any of these other ones are? Do you have anything on the list that you're looking forward to more than anything else?
Yeah, well, I did see, we don't have time to go into them right now, but I did see Mandy. Everybody needs to see
Oh, right.
Mandy.
Well, yeah, me and him, we had talked about, I had added some to my list, and it was 31, Mandy,
And I
and,
saw him 31 too. 31 Mandy and 31 are kind of in the same vein. They're just over the top, ridiculous mayhem.
I actually do think 31 is probably my least favorite Rob Zombie film so far. It's the most
That's
disjointed.
that's fair. That's fair. As much as I enjoyed the flick,
Yeah,
it's very absurd.
It was good, but it's not his strongest venture. Mandy, I liked, but honestly, if you're gonna go for a recent Nicolas Cage horror film, do Color Out of Space instead.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's on Shudder. When we hang up here, I actually owe you a couple of logins. But
Oh, sure.
yeah, Color Out of Space is actually really good. Nicolas Cage doing a Lovecraft movie.
Oh,
And
fun.
the film is actually extra great until Nicolas Cage goes a little too Nicolas Cage in a couple of scenes, and I was like, "Fuck, bro!"
No,
You, like,
there's no
just
such
pulled
thing
me
as two
out.
Nicolas Cage.
Yes,
there's
there
no
is.
such thing as two Nicolas Cage.
You hit my favorite shirt. You hit my favorite shirt.
Hey, did you ever
Okay.
see The Vampire's Kiss?
No,
It was a movie he did back in the day.
know.
His this accent that he uses through the whole, like, he's an American banker, businessman of some kind, and he does this really weird, like, geeky voice. I can't imitate it, but it's like, why are you doing this with your face right now, man? What are you doing?
Ugh. All right. So, what else are you looking forward to on the list before we play out?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Wolf of Snow Hollow. That sounds like fun.
It's really good.
But what was you? I remember you pitching WTF 101.
That's actually it shouldn't be on our it's a quote unquote horror show, but it's like an animated horror comedy thing.
Okay, then there was something else that I was really, really looking forward to, but I don't remember which one it was. But yeah, you gave me a whole list. Like, hey, I'm gonna try and plow through these.
A couple of ones I'm really looking forward to.
His House.
That one's on Netflix, and the only reason I haven't watched this
I
is
couldn't
because my
find
wife
that on
actually
Netflix.
wants to see it. It's on Netflix, unless they took it
look it
down.
again.
But
They
it's
might have taken it down. I
basically,
couldn't find it.
two people rent a haunted house, but it's a very different take, and it's actually done by, oh, fuck me for not remembering their names. If you saw Lovecraft County, it's the sister who shares the body with that blonde-haired not a Nazi bitch, and then it's the dude who played, oh, fuck, is it the dude who played Ubuntu in, we're gonna look it up right now, is what we're gonna do.
Why not?
I think
Hey.
it's the dude who played Ubuntu in, fucking Wakanda Forever.
Black Panther.
That's the one.
Was he the same dude from No, I'm blanking.
Us? No, it's
Us,
not
yeah.
that dude. It's
I don't remember who Ubuntu was.
Sope Dirisu. What do I know him from? I fucking know him from something. Oh, he's in His Dark Materials, and then His House, of course. He was in Humans. Okay. That's the fucking guy.
Okay.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff you have it, but yeah, so His House, it becomes really highly rated. That one's pretty high at my list, but honestly pretty up there on my list right now. Nocturne is really high up there. I'm told that one's kind of like a Black Swan, but all about somebody who gets a hold of a piece of music that throughout the whole movie, boy, are you not sure if they're actually summoning a demon or not.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
was really, really looking forward to that one. I thought that
sounds fun.
looked really fun. And then a couple more that are recent additions, and these ones can be on your list or not on your list, but At the Mouth of Madness, I've actually never seen.
Yeah.
So
that's
not
a new one. That's an older one.
That's an
with
older
Sam Neill.
one.
Yeah.
Slither, I added onto my list just because I haven't seen it in forever, and I really wanted to rewatch Slither.
Do it. I watch that like once a year, probably, because it's so fun.
And then I added Shook, which I'm pulling up for folks on the screens right now. So it's all about this social media star who's kind of caught in her house after a string of murders on social media stars.
Okay.
but
That sounds fun.
the way they play it is supposed to be really, really well done.
I believe it.
And then the kill theory, which I also thought would
That's
be really
not on my
interesting.
list.
It's a recent ad. It's from 2009,
Oh, okay.
but it's all about these people who go on like a paid experience. It's a horror movie camping trip. Except
Oh.
somebody actually starts killing them, and the one girl who's there didn't actually want to go on this trip and is not interested in horror movies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so really wanted to
That
give
sounds like
that
your
a
final
try.
goal right there.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
those ones are high up on my list. I'm really excited to watch those, and we'll have reviews on them soon. But for
Sweet.
now, good sir, play us out.
Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. This was Bias Bros. My name's Jay. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Jay Barker's Voice. You can also find me online, www.jaybarkersvoice.com.
And I'm the other one. You can find me on this, my podcast network. YouTube.tv/5D podcast, Twitch.tv/metagame network. 5D podcast is live Mondays at 7, and then there is still some Twitch gaming going on Tuesdays at 7. And I don't know if anything of this is 3 days a week not enough for you people. I can't relive it.
It's okay. Just breathe. Just breathe. It's fine. Maybe not. Don't breathe like that.
Okay, bye.
Adios, everybody.